Thanks for tuning in to D4 Sports, Day Drinking with Don and Dustin. I'm Don.
And I'm Dustin, and we're bringing you sports talk from around the world and drinking tips to make every game a winner.
We appreciate you checking out our podcast. So now,
live from Lubbock, Texas,
and London, England,
this is D4.
Welcome, everyone, to D4 Sports episode 90. 90, Dustin. It's the year I graduated high school.
Good thing you're not aging yourself.
No. People can't calculate that sort of thing. Our fans can't do math. What are you talking about?
What fans?
And even worse, well, hey, come on now. Actually, I don't know who it is or exactly necessarily even what episode they're listening to, but our listens have gone up pretty dramatically in the last couple of weeks. We are pushing 3,000 total downloads. So that's, something. Per Podbean, anyway, however accurate that is.
So that's almost as many episodes as we've done. We have one listener.
Come on now. Come on. YouTube didn't call this week. They didn't say we flooded their servers again. So thank you to all of our listeners who did not overwhelm YouTube with watching these two beautiful faces. But here we are, episode 90, April the 11th. Height of Masters weekend. We'll talk about some golf probably here in a little bit. End of the basketball season. Baseball's getting started. Hockey's wrapping up too. So it's all in all perfect weekend for drinking.
There you go. If you needed a reason.
Well, occasionally. I don't. I got nothing there.
Yeah, you don't.
How are you doing this fine Saturday? It is, again, we're doing another Saturday episode, not super bright and early, but pretty early your time. Certainly earlier than I got up today. Yeah, I didn't get up. I didn't see 6 a.m. today. So
I had the alarm set for 5:40, but my body said 5 o'clock was ready to get up, so I've been up for a little while.
And my body doesn't ever say that, really.
Well,
I mean, not saying that I sleep all through the night every night at my age. That would be a blessing. But if it is 5 a.m. and I see it, I certainly don't think, let's get up and go. So
I probably would have gone back to sleep had I not scheduled this.
Well, I am sure that our listeners are thrilled because we have a great episode. Nothing special, nothing unique, nothing different, just classic D4.
Classic D4.
I'm not even sure what that means, but I like to think we are the masters. I mean, I know there's this little golf tournament going this weekend, but we're kind of the podcast masters, aren't we?
Oh, for sure. It just hasn't been realized yet.
Speak for yourself. We've been doing this 2.5 years, my friend.
I know.
We've had deep insights, quality banter as last week, and plenty of drink opportunities and ideas for our listeners. So we are putting in the work. We're fighting the good fight. We're doing what is necessary. I do like that both of us happen to choose like our primary fandom outfits this week. We didn't go Millwall, and there's a reason for that. But
you also
I went
said
Patriots,
primary
you
fandom.
went Cardinals. I went Patriots, you went Cardinals. I guess that's probably your primary fan, but certainly in baseball season. But
right.
I mean, you're obviously basketball is still your sport, and I guess you've got the Phoenix Suns. I guess would you say that's your favorite team out of professional sports?
I would say I know a lot about the Cardinals. I go to more Cardinals games or have been to more Cardinals games than I have Phoenix Suns games. So, I guess you could 1A, 1B really.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. And, I don't really, I was a lifelong Red Sox fan. I followed them obviously through 2004, 2008, and that stretch. As I kind of tapered off interest in baseball, I actually I was a Dodgers fan a little bit as a kid, back in the Ron Cey, Steve Garvey days, like way back in the day, right? Like Oral Hershiser in the 90s kind of thing. So it's a bit, the Dodgers are to me a bit like the Raiders were. Like I was a loose fan of them. I was a big fan of the Raiders as a kid, but it's a team that's always had a bit of a sentimental spot in my heart. But of course, you can't say that now because they're the evil empire on the West Coast. But
I mean, it would track with you, but whatever.
Come on now. No, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I liked the Dodgers before somewhat. I'm still not a Dodgers fan. I was a huge Kershaw fan. I loved watching Clayton Kershaw for the last decade. So
at least in the regular season.
Well, all right. Anyway,
sorry, it's early. I'm throwing haymakers.
Yeah. No, we don't. I mean, that's fair. A fair criticism, but you don't have to denigrate the man. Arguably the best pitcher of the last decade, and
yes,
who will see?
I will give you that. Absolutely.
Who turns out to be the pitcher of the next decade? It'll probably be a reliever, but at any rate, we'll maybe talk I got some baseball stats for later, of course, because that's what we do around here is drop some knowledge or something. Anyway, how is Lubbock? You're in mid-spring now, I guess. We're officially spring.
It's dark right now, but it's getting warmer and windier, if that's possible.
Classic
but
Lubbock.
Today is supposed to be pretty gross. Lots of rain, I think, is what is in the forecast for today.
Lots of rain, what, a quarter inch?
I mean, we may get some sprinkles.
Yeah.
More mud than rain, I'm sure.
What was it somebody said when they say it's an inch of rain, that means that the raindrops are an inch apart?
Probably.
Something like that. Yeah. No, we actually we had our first legitimately warm day of the year on Thursday this week when it was, 26 is how they called it. I think I've got a parade coming by my flat right now. I don't know if you can hear that out there, but I'm not sure what's going on. Well, anyway.
They're celebrating episode 90.
Well, yeah, as they should. But we had our first legitimately warm day this week. Hit about 75 degrees, 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was lovely, a harbinger of things to come. We are back to gray and cloudy today, but, Saturday, I don't have to work my day job, so no complaints from me. And with that, let's start drinking. What do you got?
Well, since it's early, I do have my coffee. So there is that. But I may have found the best combination drink.
Oh, all right.
For this podcast and for me. So what I have to drink today is a Waterloo sparkling water.
Okay.
Guy Fieri's Flavor Town. And I'm going to show you the flavor.
Okay.
Apple pie a la mode. And nothing says D4 Dustin's Drinks like warm fruit sparkling water.
Indeed. If only it were warm. Serve it warm for optimal
Maybe next time I can just put it in the microwave or so. Who knows? But
warm sparkling water. That sounds terrible. That sounds really bad, actually. But yeah. All right.
It does.
Let's see that. Let's put that back.
It smells like apple pie.
Well, that's appropriate, I suppose. And
I've had worse. And I've had better.
Fair enough. So
it's not terrible. It's got the aftertaste tastes better than the initial. So I'll give it that. Maybe the ice cream on the a la mode or whatever helps the vanilla.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't know.
Saw that and I was like, I can't not get this one.
Yeah, no, well, hey, look, I mean, you and your warm fruit, there's nothing but a warm fruit in a drink with sparkling water, and it's called Waterloo, which of course is one of the biggest train stations in London. So, I mean, that's just you're right. The D4 connection there is pretty deep.
It's huge.
Now you just need to spike it with vanilla vodka.
I don't have any here, so.
Yeah, surprise. Big surprise. Big surprise. All right, so is that all you got today? Just the one, the apple pie and the coffee?
That's all I got.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I went simple, but I was thinking, I don't remember the last time I actually had this on our show. I just went with a straight gin and tonic, a classic, simple gin and tonic with Tanqueray and a lime. It's noon here, so I mean it's a little early. I'm not necessarily planning on going on an all-day bender or anything.
Well,
so
you can't. You didn't start in the morning.
Well, I think I had a sip a little before noon, technically, so maybe I did. But yeah, no, I mean, the weather's starting to get a little nicer, warming up just a little bit. Gin and tonic, I mean, for a simple warm weather, and again, it's not quite warm weather, but whatever, you go with me on it, right? A nice, simple sip. You can add a little fruit juice. You can get flavored tonics. You can do all sorts of stuff. But, gin and tonic, always a good drink. Never disappoints. I'm going to have another sip.
So you're saying you're not going to just tie one on, and then when Karen gets home, you've already seen
probably
several sheets in?
Yeah. I don't, hey. Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
It's early.
But, yeah, it is early. You never know. You never know what could happen. But all right, then. So with that, drinks of the day done. Why don't we start with opening shots? And I have a quick one. I'll start with. I am not a Washington Nationals fan. I'm not opposed to the Washington Nationals, but the Washington Nationals have endeared themselves to me now because of what they did on their opening day. Did you hear what the Nationals did on their first game in whatever I don't know what their stadium's called, in their home stadium this year?
I guess not.
So this was the 21st year of the Nationals in this stadium. So they had an opening sip. They found a girl. I don't have her name. They found a girl who was born on the day the stadium opened 21 years earlier. And she came down, and after, or at about the same time as the opening pitch, she took an opening sip of beer to kick off the season. And I thought to myself,
as a 21-year-old, that's awesome.
As a 21-year-old. Yeah, her 21st birthday, 21 years since the stadium's been open. Baseball's getting going. Opening sip. That's good. That's well
pretty
done.
Good. Especially for her, because she gets to now for the rest of her life tell the story of her first drink as a 21-year-old, if we're being honest. As a 21,
first drink, yeah.
Well, that's why I said a first drink as a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah, no, I saw that, and I was like, all right, Washington Nationals, the ceremonial first sip, I am down for that. I mean, let's face it, the Brewers should do that every game. Right. I mean, they're called the Brewers, for goodness sake, and you obviously have, you got the Cardinals play in Busch Stadium. Did I tell you the story about how Busch Stadium came to be named that?
We have talked about it. Yes.
Yeah. How he wanted to call it Budweiser Stadium, but they wouldn't let him because you couldn't name his stadium after the beer. Yes. So he calls it Busch Stadium and then made Busch beer to sell in the stadium. Clever. And you got Coors Field.
I was going to say you got Colorado.
Yeah, you got any others named after? PNC Bank is probably. I bet they're drinking. They should have ceremonial martini sip at PNC Bank.
Tropicana mimosas.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, not bad. We got what's the Great American Ballpark? I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with that.
True.
But I don't think there's any other. I can't think of any other stadiums or teams that are explicitly related.
Petco
Anyway,
Park.
I don't know. All right. Well, one other real quick on a baseball note, and again, this relates very much to these sorts of things that we have done here on D4, and that is I saw a video on Instagram about a minor league baseball team, the Durham Bulls, which I know nothing about, but the Durham Bulls have a bat dog, Champ. is the bat dog. And there's this video of him, and literally he's standing at the top of the dugout watching the game. The pitcher goes into his windup and he tenses up and he gets all, and then he throws a pitch or, and it's like a strike or a ball, and he relaxes and he sends back. And the pitch comes and he tenses up again. And then, he does this like 3 pitches in a row. And then the guy finally gets a hit and he's just shaking. He's like sitting there ready. And as soon as the play ends, bam, Champ pops out, grabs the bat, brings it back. The whole crowd goes crazy because Champ the bat dog for the Durham Bulls is really quite exceptional. And I thought, Champ, you deserve a shout out here on D4 Sports. So there you go. My 2 opening shots.
You know nothing about the Durham Bulls?
Not to my knowledge.
Not even the movie? Bull Durham?
It's been so long since I've seen Bull Durham. Costner. Is that really? Is it set in the? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's.
I thought that was just his name, isn't it? Isn't that just his name?
Well, it's the name in the movie, and then now you got the Durham Bulls.
Okay, well, yes, but all right. Does it?
No,
in the movie,
pretty sure it coincides.
In the movie, does he play for the Durham Bulls? Does Bull Durham play for the Durham Bulls?
I think so.
I don't know. I can't remember Bull Durham.
It's been a while, but yeah. A romantic comedy film about the minor league baseball team, the Durham Bulls, starring Kevin Costner.
Oh, well, there you go.
So yeah, there you go.
I probably should have put that together, but there's a lot of thoughts going on in this mind, Dustin. There's a lot of thoughts happening.
I mean, that came out in 1988. You were what, a sophomore, junior in high school? So
yeah, I was doing other stuff, man.
I have no doubt.
What do you got? Give me an opening shot. Don't say whatever. All right.
So we've got episode 90. Okay.
90.
And then if you take the 9 and flip it, you've got 6-0. Now let's put a dash in there. You've got 6-0.
Okay.
If you do it twice, 6-0, 6-0. You've got what we call in tennis a double bagel.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going. You reached deep. I'm going to say you reached deep for that. But all right. Well done.
But so a double bagel for the winner is a great thing. For the loser is you did not play well. Let's just be really honest. You played absolutely awful. Is it Danilo? What is his?
I don't know.
Medvedev. Yeah.
I think he's by Daniel, but okay, yeah, whatever.
Danny Medvedev,
Daniel,
who is really good at tennis. Now it's clay court now, right? He lost in his first ever double bagel, so he did not play well.
No,
not only that. After the match, he smashed his tennis racket 7 times against the ground, totally annihilated it.
Yes,
so. Epic meltdown. Just epic meltdown.
Which is pretty classic, pretty standard for Medvedev.
It is. He wears a chip on his shoulder. He shows his emotions. And one day we do talk about it. Maybe we need to do episode 100, like just outbursts, right? In sports.
Well,
with coaches.
We've got it sitting in the back. The coaches' meltdowns. We've been talking about doing that for 2 years.
A whole entire episode.
A meltdown episode. Nice.
But in regard to, so in tennis, first serve percentage, typically you're going to have a higher percentage winning that point on your first serve if you get it in, correct?
Yep. Right.
Okay.
Well, you're hitting it harder. Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Can you guess or try to guess Berrettini's second serve win percentage against Medvedev in this match?
Well, if you're winning 6-love, your second serve percentage has got to be pretty good. I didn't read many stats. I thought I saw that that Medvedev never won more than 2 points in a game in the entire match. If I read that right, so he's got to be 80%, which would be ridiculous. 85. Yeah, that's insane. Because even the best players, 50 to 60% would be very good for a second serve win percentage. Yeah.
Yes. 85% second serve percentage.
Wow.
That's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for Berrettini.
And Berrettini's not a bad player, and I think he's a better clay court player. Medvedev, of course, is not a good clay court player. He's a good hard court player. And I think...
Right. Oh, yes,
but
absolutely.
Wasn't Berrettini coming back off of injury or something, too?
That I don't know.
Or... Yeah, okay. I don't remember, but... Yeah. Double bagels really rare in men's tennis.
Extremely rare.
More common in women's tennis because women don't serve quite as hard, and so they tend to have their service broken more than men do. So the way, however this worked, I mean, you played 12 games, they each serve 6. So you get broken 6 times in a row. Is really, really uncommon for any professional tennis player. So yeah, that's
I don't even know how to compare it in other sports.
I mean, that's like, well, look, Aaron Judge's opening day 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, right?
The golden sombrero, yeah.
The golden sombrero, as it's known in tennis or in baseball, is probably close. Yeah. Well, I got a little stat on one of your former Cardinals pitchers, Matt Mikolas, who had a pretty rough first inning. I mean, it's like a pitcher not getting any outs, right? Giving up 7 runs in the first inning and getting knocked out. I mean, that kind of thing. It's rough.
This is probably a pretty good warm-up match for Medvedev going into Roland Garros, the French Open on the clay court season.
I mean, he knows he doesn't have any chance. He's not a clay court player, but yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
So real quick, one other one.
Yeah.
We have talked about this before, and I actually had a lengthy conversation yesterday about this. So I was talking about soccer and the Premier League and Champions League and talking about relegation, promotion, all of that stuff. And in this conversation, we talked that here in America, we should start utilizing that in sports. Because now it's going to be a lot harder over here to implement it, right? Baseball, you have 1A, 2A, AAA, the majors, and that'd be really hard to get a AAA team up. And
because they're not independent teams, right? That's the thing. They're all subsidiaries, if you will.
There's
right?
so many. There's so many things that would have to change and happen for that to be a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or NBA, you've got the NBA and the G League.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: in the NBA, they have. Or they don't have tanking. Let's be honest. They don't have tanking. But
I've got some stats about that later, too.
In regard to not tanking, we had a game last night against the Jazz and the Grizzlies, right? There's a lot of Z's in those two teams' names.
Yeah. You're stealing my thunder a little bit on this, but I'll let you. Go ahead.
Well,
you didn't know I was
episode 90, at some
yeah.
point, we're going to have some similarities. Did you see... So the Jazz won 147 to 101.
Yeah.
But the loser of this game improved their chances to get a first pick of the NBA draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I saw a clip on this that said the game no one wanted to win. Yeah.
Yeah. The Windhorse.
Yeah.
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 Did you see the stats?
I
There
did
were
not.
3 triple doubles.
Oh, jeez.
The Jazz had 2 players that had a triple double. Both of them then came off the bench.
Nice.
And the Grizzlies had a guy that had a quadruple double.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the fourth one in? Steals?
Turnovers.
Oh. Nice. All right. I was going to say
13 points, 15 rebounds, 14 assists, and 10 turnovers.
Well, yes. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, my thing was going off the stats. I saw the stats, but tanking it's a real thing. They had 12 players on the injury report, the Grizzlies. 12 players.
Right. Yes. 14 members of the Memphis Grizzlies were ruled inactive on Friday. I've got some stats on
14
Friday. I'll league wide, 168 players, starters were ruled inactive on Friday night. So, yeah, if you want to go see an NBA game, don't go late in the season because, that ain't good. Well, Yeah, again, we will leave it there. We'll come back to the NBA when we get to our sports roundup. But yeah, suffice to say, they've got to do something to fix that. We'll talk more about the idea of maybe with our next segment. We'll talk a little bit more about the idea of what it would take to get relegation. I do have an idea, but it wouldn't work. But anyway, we'll talk about that more. So anyway, we're going to call it there for the opening segment for Opening Shots on episode 90 of D4 Sports. Coming back at you on episode 90 of D4 Sports, the masters of podcasting. That's what we are. It's my new nickname I've assigned for us. And unfortunately, as we come into D4 business, Dustin, I have some unfortunate news to share, and it's related to one of our loyal listeners and one-time guest, John Woodard. Very good friend of mine, and some sad news to report out of the Woodard household this week as their beloved dog, Stanley, has crossed the Rainbow Bridge and had to be put down due to some unfortunate illness that they discovered this week. But Stanley, I can't even tell you how many, dachshund and wiener dog images I have sent to John over the years about Stan, in honor of Stan. And named after Stan Musial, if I'm not mistaken, and a fine member of the D4 family. So here's to you, Stan. We'll pour one out for you this week when I next hit the pub. And to John, very sorry to the family and to the loss, but hopefully, you'll find comfort in knowing that you gave Stan a good home, and we all got to see him go out and do his thing when he had to, in a variety of ways. It was kind of a long-haired dachshund, so he'd go out for a walk and he'd come home and his whole belly would be covered in like stickers and stuff. So that was always nice. John was a big fan of getting up at 5 a.m. to take him on a walk in the winter.
Oh, I could see John being a big fan of that.
Anyway, so shout out to Stan. But moving on, and on I don't want to say quite similar note, but almost. Millwall's last two games, after all the excitement last weekend, for goodness sakes. Dustin, what are we going to do?
Hope is a terrible thing in sports.
Yeah, hope is a terrible thing.
We didn't lose both of them, but they might as well have both been losses.
They certainly feel like, well, one was a loss. The game Monday against Norwich. Pretty obvious home game, of course. Pretty obvious letdown game after the big win over Middlesbrough. And we delivered with a classic letdown game and lost that one 2-1. But then last night on the road against a team fourth from the bottom, West Brom. And I don't know. Is it fair to say we laid an egg? I mean, we got a 0-0 draw. We got a point, but I mean, we really needed 3 points,
For sure. So Ipswich now, as of this moment, we are 3 games ahead of them in games played.
Yeah. They got 3 games in hand on us. And only,
And we are 1 point ahead of them.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough, it's 1 game. We're 1 point ahead due to the draw because we were all tied second, third, fourth with 72 points.
Yeah.
I do believe that we will be playing in the play-in tournament.
Yeah. Certainly looks like it.
Promotion tournament.
Point. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, I hope they're all away games for us.
No kidding.
Which is just baffling. Baffling.
Yeah.
I mean, the Den is a nice. We have been there. I mean, it can draw a crowd, especially when there's a chance of promotion. There's going to be a crowd, right?
And they sell really well, and it's considered a difficult place to go and play. But boy, not this year.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't bothered to
no,
pull up our home and away record, but it's not good.
I can have it for next one.
Yeah, we should probably pull that out. But yeah. So, yeah, I mean, at this switch, you definitely got to say, at this point, Ipswich has got to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yes, and Coventry's
3 games
12 points ahead of second, so...
Yeah, I mean, no, Coventry's got the number 1 spot wrapped up. That's pretty much a given, unless they just absolutely collapse. Middlesbrough, I think Middlesbrough's got to feel much like we do, that we're heading for, the playoff. Ipswich, again, because of quirks in their scheduling, have got a couple extra games to play.
And the FA Cup.
Yeah, it was the FA Cup, and then they had the one game against Portsmouth that just got canceled because of the power outage. Yeah, that they're going to have to make up. But yeah, I mean, if we were all on equal games, that'd be one thing. But you got to think they're going to get at least 2, if not 4 points out of those extra 2 games. So effectively, they're 3 points clear of us in second, and I don't know.
And right now in 5th and 6th, you have Hull and Southampton. So
yeah,
and Wrexham's right there at 7.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
tough teams.
I don't know. I just and other than the last 2, we were really playing well up until these last 2 games. So hopefully we find our form the rest of the season. I mean, if we win out, we got 4 matches, all very winnable against QPR and Stoke, and then Leicester and Oxford, which are at the bottom of the table, the very bottom of the table. So we should have, an opportunity to at least win 2 of those. If we should win out, we'll put plenty of pressure on Ipswich or Middlesbrough for second. But boy, I don't know. Just another example of playing down to our competition last night when we should have. And I know we had at least one shot hit the post. I know we had a couple of, but I mean, I was watching the stats. I didn't actually watch the game, but at one point shots were 10-10, and at the end of the game it was 16-11. In the last 6 or 7 minutes, West Brom got 6 shots to our 1. So I don't know, just disappointing. So yeah. Any other thoughts on Millwall?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, the Premier League is back this weekend. They've had a couple weeks hiatus for FA Cup and other stuff, so they're back this weekend, so I can continue my slow demise in the Premier League.
I feel like something has changed in Premier League scoring. There is a new point thing that I guess I've never seen before, and it's defensive contributions.
Yeah, they did introduce that this year. Yeah, in the fantasy. Yeah, and to be frank, I don't even know exactly what that means. I don't know if that's intercepting a pass or creating a turnover or blocking a shot or
12 points for it on Bowen yesterday, and I'm going, what in the world? This is...
You got 12 from defensive contribution or 12 total from Bowen?
No, 14 total from Bowen. And then it was either 10 or 12 points from defensive contributions.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know it was that many points. Basically, if they get above 10 defensive contributions in a game, you get a point for it. And then, maybe some other things. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that's they have definitely started doing that this year. And again, I'm not 100% sure what counts as a defensive contribution in Premier League fantasy scoring. But yeah, it's definitely it's increased the defenders and midfielders as well point totals and given you another thing to consider, which of course is not really good for me because I don't know enough about the game.
I read it wrong.
Okay.
So I read it backwards. So it's a value of 12 for 2 points. That's what it was.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So I read it in reverse is what I did. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever counts as a defensive contribution, you have to get 10 of them to get a point. And if you get above that, then you start getting extra points for your. So I guess because it is something to be said because a lot of the defenders, there's a lot of defensemen like your center backs. Typically, they don't attack much. So their opportunities to get assists and certainly a goal are very, very slim, right? But they're also very important to the game. So I think it's probably a good thing to put that in there as a stat. But so anyway, that's Premier League. So let's go back to the idea of promotion and relegation in American sports. And again, I think the fundamental problem is that in leagues where you have minor league teams, baseball, and I assume the G League is also, those teams are related to professional teams, correct? To NBA teams? Yeah, see, that's your problem, right? Because in the UK, you've got, I don't even know, 150 football teams, soccer teams, right? So, and they're not, it's like subsidiaries. It's not like minor leagues and farm systems. It's like every small town.
They're standalone.
Every town has their own team. And so that's why the promotion and relegation works. And I was thinking something like, if you had, like in the NFL, if you had, say, because there's 32 teams currently, if you had 35 teams and like the bottom 3 didn't play, but they would, like they were just kind of sitting on the sidelines, and the next year they would swap with the other bottom 3, but you can't have a team go a year with no games. So that wouldn't work. There's just no way to do that. And you've got now what they call the UFL, which was the XFL/USFL merger, and which the St. Louis Battlehawks are a key member. There's like 8 teams there, but those teams are not good enough to play in the NFL. So because they're using basically all the players who couldn't make an NFL roster.
Right.
So
no, I just in American sports, it would be really, really hard to do the promotion relegation, or implement it because of what's been put in place already.
Yeah, yeah, but as we mentioned about tanking, this is why the NBA has to do something. So I took a minute just to see how real is the tank, and in the East, the difference between between the playoff team and the last play-in team, right? So you have 6 teams that automatically make the playoffs. Then you have 4 teams that will play the play-in tournament, right? So the difference between the 6th team in the league and the 10th team in the league, that is the teams that are definitely in the playoffs versus the teams that are in that round-robin tournament, is only 3 games. In the West, there's a little bigger spread. The Timberwolves are the 6th place team at 48 wins. And then the play-in teams are 44, 44, and 41. And then the Warriors at 37. Okay? So there's a little bigger spread there. However, the distance between the last of the play-in teams, so the 10th best team, and the next team, that is the team that's not in the playoffs in the East. The 10th team is the Heat with 42 wins. The next best team is the Milwaukee Bucks with 32 wins. 10 games worse than the last playoff team. In the West, the Warriors at 37. And remember, they're the outlier because everybody else is 41 or more. And the next best team are the Pelicans with 26 wins. That's an 11-game difference. So here you go. Of the bottom 10 teams in the league, these are the teams that are non-playoff teams. Here's how they have performed in the last 10 games. 2 teams are 4-6. 2 are 3-7. 2 are 2-8, and 4 teams are 1-9 in their last 10 games. And just in case you were wondering, the worst team in the league, the Washington Wizards, on February the 21st, they were 16-39. You know what their record is now?
17 and whatever.
17-64. They are 1-35 in their last 36 games. The Utah Jazz,
too. They've got a lot of young guys.
The Utah Jazz, who we previously mentioned, were 18-37 on February the 12th and are now 22-59. That's 4-22 in the last 26 games. The Grizzlies, who played the Jazz, were 20-29 on February 5th. So not even all that far under 500. And they are now 25-56. So, and then the outlier here are the Sacramento Kings. They tanked early because they were 8-30 on January 10th. And they're actually now 22-59. They've gone 14-29 in the second half of the season. But basically, mid-February hits, and everybody's like, yep, that we're done. And they just, I mean, it's just preposterous. And
the guy I was talking to yesterday said, the difference is, okay, so take away the promotion, relegation, stuff like that. Okay. In the UK, in soccer is specifically what we're talking about when it comes to the promotion relegation, right? So the good teams, hey, you get promoted. Good job, right? The bad teams, you're like, you got to figure something out.
Yeah.
In the US, what do we do with the bad teams?
We give
Especially
them
the worst
pick.
of the worst.
We reward them. Yeah.
First pick of the draft, typically.
Yep.
So the NBA, you have your percentages and your lottery and all that stuff. In football, I mean, we reward you with the number one pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was like, okay, so you don't do promotion relegation. Let's stop rewarding the tanking.
Well, yeah. So, and of course, what's interesting is in football, soccer, in England and across Europe, there is no draft, right? Everybody has their farm systems, if you will. They're under 21 teams, they're under 18 teams. They've got their academies, they call them, right? And so they have their academies, and these start. I think I told the story about my buddy's son, who at 12 years old was taken down and he was like recruited by Paris Saint-Germain, and they were showing him all this stuff, and I'm like, this is a 12-year-old kid, right? Being like having his eyes, lit up with the possibility of stardom, right? And maybe, right? Turned out he ended up not. He played for a few years in an academy here in Oxford, I think, and then eventually decided he didn't want to do it. But that's how they groom talent here. There is no draft because there is no college sports, right? So it's just this homegrown system, and then anybody can sign anybody. And even if a player is under contract, you can buy that contract. In the transfer windows as they have, right? But, and I've said this for years, and again, we don't want to get political on this show, but to probably half of the Americans, the worst word you can say, one of the worst things you can say is you're a socialist, right? Socialism is a bad idea, right? Trying to keep everybody equal and balanced and whatnot. And of course, in Europe, socialism and the democratic socialist is a huge part of, you have nationalized healthcare. Everybody has healthcare. You don't have to think about it, right? There's a much broader social safety net. But in sports in Europe, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And in America, where in real life, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, in sports, we try to create a level playing field. And it's a tremendous irony that we essentially try to create parity and equality in sports, maybe not so much in real life. I don't want to make any comments on that. In Europe, where they work really hard to create parity in real life, in sports, if you're Millwall, no one likes you, and we hope you don't succeed. And if you're some little podunk team out in the middle of nowhere, nobody cares if you don't have revenue sharing and have any money to buy good players. We're not helping you. Yeah.
Get better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how are you supposed to do that? I don't know. You need somebody like Ryan Reynolds to come buy your team, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually is an interesting story because he's not the first. He's just been the one who's been the most successful at buying it. And,
JJ Watt's bought into him, not Wrexham, but,
another team. Yeah. And Tom Brady bought into Birmingham, right? And, I don't know. It is surprising.
We need Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman to go ahead and buy some stock in Millwall. That'd
Come
be
on
awesome.
now, yeah. By the way, for those who don't know that reference, they are Millwall fans, and they actually were at a Millwall game together earlier this season. Yeah, they're both
True
South
Millwall
Londoners.
fans.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So it is kind of interesting, and I wonder, because again, in the U.S., if you're a billionaire and you buy it like Jerry Jones and you buy a sports team, right? You can't just spend all of your money on it. I mean, there's salary caps, right? There's hard salary caps, and there's tax penalties in the NBA and MLB and whatnot, right? Over here, man, you can spend as much money as you want. You can literally go buy anything from anywhere. I mean, Stan Kroenke and Arsenal. I still got to do the Kroenke show. Anyway, I just wonder how long it's going to be until like more American billionaires don't decide to come and buy, European or British soccer teams. I'm surprised they haven't, because then they can just literally just spend as much as they want and buy whoever they want. And, the only thing they have to do, of course, is, and there are rules about how much money your team can lose. If you lose too much money, you get penalties and whatnot. So,
right.
But yeah, no, there's got to be some way to fix the tanking problem. And, but you also, unless you just did a pure lottery for the draft across the board, right? At the end of the season, everybody gets one ping pong ball in the whirly gig, or maybe you give the bottom half of the league or non-playoff teams 2, give them a little bit of an advantage, I guess, maybe if you want to. But if you don't randomize the draft order, how do you do it?
But what would Americans do? So say the Celtics win the title and then they win the lottery. What would we do? It's rigged. There's no way that could have happened.
We are a pretty conspiracy hungry society.
Yes. So it would have nothing to do with randomization. It would be purely, all the balls say Celtics, and then we'll switch it out. And then, that's. Yeah. Just say it.
Well, and I mean, again, we don't want to dive into politics and stuff, but the American ethos, the rags to riches story, I honestly think, and again, I'll put my historian hat on here a little bit, as to why we have structured our leagues the way we have, is in some ways because we like that underdog story, right? We like that self-made, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, everybody gets a shot, right? Equality of opportunity, whether it's true or not in real life, we keep it in sports because it makes a story. And in Europe, they don't. Nah.
Because most of the people watching sports would be an underdog story for them to even sniff a field.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. So anyway, all right. So there we go. There's D4 business with a little bit of whatever that was in the last 10 minutes. But episode 90, breaking new ground here on D4 Sport. Welcome back to the Masters of Podcasting, D4 Sports. You don't look like you've embraced that name, Dustin.
No, I was trying to come up with something witty about a double bagel, but nothing came to mind.
A lot of cream cheese.
I mean, it's still early here, so that blank stare may just be...
That may just be...
the 7 a.m., whatever you
Fair enough. Well, so speaking of the Masters, last week I shared the story, one story of golfer Bryson DeChambeau, man of the people, right? 393-yard par 4, and he drives the green. Well, Bryson DeChambeau, man of the people, golfer of the people, proved how much he is a golfer of the people in the second round of the Masters. Did you see how his round ended?
No, but I did see his caddy for the par 3 contest.
Okay, I didn't, but no. What was that?
Kevin Hart.
Oh, nice. Very good. Well, all right.
Back to golf.
That's not man of the people, because if I had a caddy, I guarantee it wouldn't be Kevin Hart. Unless I'm paying a lot of money in some tournament in LA or something. Bryson DeChambeau, man of the people, comes up to the 18th hole, pulls his drive into the trees, punches out into the sand trap, hits his sand shot, leaves it in the bunker, chips out of the bunker, lands on the green, and goes all the way off the green. He chips up about 12 feet past, misses the putt for 6, and makes triple bogey and misses the cut. Man of the people.
Sounds like the man of the people.
Bryson
right
DeChambeau,
there, baby. Still better than me, but
yeah. If he makes par, he's tied for 32nd. He's at like whatever at 2 over par, and he's playing. He's probably not going to win because Rory's going to win. It looks like, but then he comes back and he triple bogeys the 18th hole. Bryson DeChambeau, he is every man on the golf course, except of all the players on tour, who is not the everyman on tour. It is Bryson DeChambeau, which is nice and ironic. So, have you paid any attention to the Masters this week?
No. I did see that. I think it was Fred Couples said, now that Rory has won one, watch out, he's going to go on a tear, is what Fred Couples said. Like that, the monkey's off his back. Because he's had multiple opportunities with this and just has kind of, we'll just say, floundered at the end, not done well, or full on collapse. But now that he's won one, it's like, hey, I've done it now.
Well, and if we need evidence of that, I don't know if you saw how his round ended yesterday. Rory McIlroy birdied 6 of the last 7 holes to shoot a tidy 31 on the back 9 at Augusta, and to go to 6 shots ahead at 12 under par. And excuse me, I gotta be careful how I say this. 6 shots clear of the field at the Masters. So last year he'd won all the other majors, right? And so for the last 5-6 years, it was career Grand Slam, which puts him in the very rarefied air in the golfing, the history of golfing. And he finally got it, and he certainly looks to be playing more relaxed because he is firing on all cylinders. And I think Scotty Scheffler's probably too far away to make an actual run at him, which is probably good for the rest of the golfers in the field. But Rory is comfortably out in front. I did see this. So when you think about common names, right, and the likelihood of maybe there being 2 players with the same last name in the field, you think like Dustin Johnson and Zach Johnson, right? Maybe a Watson. The Tom Watson is the famous one, but Watson's not all that uncommon a last name.
Bubba Watson.
See, there you go, right? I don't know that many people thought about Rasmus Højgaard and his brother Nikolai Højgaard, who are both in the Masters this year for the second year in a row.
Brothers, though, so that makes more sense than just randomization, right?
True, but I was the first day I was checking the tee times, and I'm like, Højgaard, Rasmus Højgaard. I'm like, okay, and then another. Wait a minute, there's 2 Højgaards in the Masters. I mean, if it was the Danish Open or something, or Norwegian, or I don't know where they're from. Probably Danish. I don't know if it's Danish. It's obviously Scandinavian because they have the O with the slash, right? As it says H-O with a slash, J-G-A-A-R-D, Højgaard. So, you're thinking, if it's the Danish Open, the Norwegian Open, maybe we'd expect to see a handful of Højgaards. Wasn't expecting it in the Masters, but here we are. Rasmus Højgaard. There you go. So, all right. So that's the Masters.
I do love the rule, play it where it lies. Did you see that one of the shots of a player landed on a merch bag of somebody?
Nice. I imagine they got a free drop from that. Yeah, I know. Yeah. You do. They don't make you hit it off a merch bag, but yeah, that would be good. Nice if it landed in somebody's lap. Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, play it where it lies, man.
Hello.
See how professional you really are.
You can take that a lot of ways. John Daly has done things like that in the past, but I don't think most other golfers.
No doubt.
All right, so let's turn our attention to baseball. What are your thoughts on the baseball season? No, I know. Well, I mean, that's kind of where we are in the sporting calendar, right? What are your thoughts so far on the baseball season?
I mean, it's still so stinking early. Cardinals won last night. They're 8-5.
They are.
The Red Sox, who are 4-9, so it's not like an amazing win, but there's nothing that really like stands out massively to me, except that you're repeatedly seeing 12 pitchers a game.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you brought up the point that the Cardinals at 8-5 beat the Red Sox at 4-9, because I checked the standings and I'm like, whoa, do we have parity in baseball? So we've got the Dodgers at 10-3, the Braves at 9-5. Right. Then 23 teams are between 6 wins and 8 wins. 4 teams have 5 and 1 team has 4. The Red Sox at 4-9 are legitimately the worst team in the league by record. So you have the difference between the best team in the league and the worst team in the league. Again, we're 13 games in, so I respect that it's completely early. Is the Dodgers at 769 and the Red Sox at 308. Just comparatively, the NBA, the best team is at 790, finished the season at 790, and the worst team finished at 210, with 7 teams at 309 or below, which is the percentage of the worst team. Now, again, it's early, so we'll see. But I will say this much. The 2 lowest spending teams in the league, the Guardians and the Marlins, are both 8-6. So
yeah, the Marlins are on fire for the Marlins.
Yeah, well, yeah. I fully expect this to separate and weed out, but
for sure. So, I mean, the Rockies swept the Astros to get to 500.
I know. But let me ask you this. Would parity in baseball actually be a good thing?
Might as well try it, right? Baseball needs something.
Well,
I think it would be a good thing. I mean, your big teams are going to probably end up being there at the end.
Sure. Right.
There is going to be separation when you play, 600 games a season.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good start.
Yeah. But so it's interesting though, right? Because I think about and again, baseball had a pretty overall unremarkable season last year until the postseason, and they got, again, as I would say, bailed out by
the World Series, just
the championships in the World Series, right?
Yeah.
Might happen again, but it's tough to bank on that when you're asking fans to watch 162 games a season. But I almost think parity in baseball might be actually really bad. If you don't have any team that's going to win 104, 105 games, right? If you don't have any really great team, because as we've talked about, well, first off, I mean, at this point, we're 13 games into the season, and there's only about 70 players that are still batting over 300, which sounds like a big number, but it's not a very big number, right? And like last season, you only had 3 guys who hit above 300, or 6 guys, I think, ended up hitting over 300 last year. And you're not going to have any pitcher going to make a run at, even 25 wins in a season. I mean, if you get anybody to 20 wins anymore, the days of the workhorse pitcher are gone, basically, right? So if you don't have a team that's really on fire or a team that's really terrible, because that was vaguely interesting, right? Watching the White Sox be so catastrophically bad, right? What do you have if you're in baseball?
Ton of mediocrity.
Yeah, but see, in football, when the season's only 16, 17 games long, parity's good because you don't keep people hanging. But I don't know that parity's good for baseball. I mean, some parity is, right? But you better have some, and maybe the Dodgers. I mean, look, if the Dodgers don't win 110 games this year. Shame on them, really. But I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know that parity would be good for baseball. Maybe it would.
And I think it's crazy. So like not just last year, but over and over, it's still, there are times like the wild card still comes down to the last, series, like the last 3 games of the season or whatever. And it's like, well, if we're going to play 162 games and it come down to that, why don't we just shorten the season and still have that?
Yeah.
Right. But it's not going to happen right now.
No, it's about revenue, right? It's.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Professional sports is fundamentally an entertainment business. It's about revenue. And so there's no way the owners are going to, cut back attendance opportunities, right? There's just, even though you still end up with the situation where you have teams who don't draw anybody, right? And so, there's all that. But this is where the whole model, I don't want to get, political or economic again, but, the money in sports has fundamentally changed the game. Entirely in our lifetime from the 80s to now, the incredible amount of money. That drives everything. You can't have a team like the Dodgers who goes out and spends $400 million or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden say, oh yeah, we're taking 20 games off. You blow up the economic model. You ruin it, and you ruin the TV contracts and you ruin so, you're not in a situation where it's about what's best for the game itself anymore, really. And that's where all the fights are, right? People are like fighting about the pitch clock or fighting about making the bases larger, taking away the shift, bringing the DH to the National League, all these things, right?
ABS
is going to be the story of the season, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's the name? After they got rid of Angel Hernandez, what's the name? CB Buckner? That was I don't know. The umpire who's, I think I already fired him or something, but he's the guy who's been he's the Angel Hernandez of the day. CB Buckner.
They're talking about how wild some of these umpires' strike zones are compared to
right.
ABS. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what.
And I think there was like 3 pitches in the same at bat that were all, he missed badly, Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, I don't know. Baseball, you still got some stories happening. You had Shohei Ohtani. I don't know if this is still true, but at one point earlier this week, he had both the longest active on-base streak and the longest active scoreless innings streak. So, for a player, just remarkable. I looked at, okay. Yeah, I have a couple other games. The Cubs beat the Guardians in a game earlier this week, 1-0. Both pitchers threw 1-hit shutouts for a combined total of 11.2 innings. And then they used 8 pitchers. Each team used 4 in a 1-0 shutout.
Did you see we almost had an immaculate inning?
Oh, no, I didn't see that. Who was that?
I think his name is Mason Miller for the Padres.
Oh, yeah, that guy's something. Yeah.
Holy cow. I watched all 10 pitches.
Yeah.
Strikeout. But, man, the movement on that ball was –
yeah.
And he's throwing sliders and 103-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Well, and so this is what I was thinking about today. I thought I had about the future of pitching, right? And you remember we talked about Skeens, and we talked about the Randy Johnson interview where Randy Johnson told Paul Skeens, look, you've got to tell your manager, I'm staying out, right? I'm going to pitch 7, 8, 9 inning games. I'm not coming out after 85 pitches every game if you really want to be considered a great. And I think what I was reflecting on was the fact that you got people like Mason Miller, and you have there's so many of these young pitchers now are coming up, and they're throwing 102 miles an hour on a 4-seam fastball or 2-seam fastball, and then they drop down and they'll throw a 90-mile-an-hour cutter or a slider. What do they call it? They got what's the sweeper they're calling it now, right?
The sweeper
is a new pitch, and I'm thinking, well, that's great, but the reality is that's every major league pitcher has to have something, right? And you can rarely be a one pitch pitcher. You got to usually have at least two, and if great pitchers have three great pitchers, and some would go, your Maddox, Clemens, once you develop that splitty, had four great pitches. Pedro Martinez with the fastball and the change and the curveball. Kershaw with the slider and the fastball and that big, huge Uncle Charlie curveball, right? But having two or three great pitches isn't going to make you a legend, right? If you can only do it for 3 or 4 years because you blow your arm out, right? Or because you're not allowed to pitch. And that's what I was wondering. I'm thinking about some of these great pitchers, and they're genuinely talented, incredibly talented players, but are we going to know any of them in 10 years' time? I don't even know.
It makes sense. You're playing 5 innings when you start.
Yeah.
You may have an ERA of 2.8, and
sure.
Which is good.
Good. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're throwing 80 pitches in an outing, 85 pitches in an outing, and it's going to the reliever. And the next thing you know, in a decent game, you see 5 innings from your starter, and then one inning.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
and your starter ends the season at 16-10, and which is a good season. But
so let me ask you this as a manager in Skeens. Okay. So you've got, and we'll just say Skeens and just
sure. Yeah.
For the comparison, you've got Skeens out there going, no, you're going to leave me out here. I'm pitching 7.2 or 8 innings. I'm doing this. And then you've got a manager that's like, do we pull him? Do we not? Right. And say the manager then says, okay, you can stay out there. Skeens gets hurt. Who's going to be on the chopping block?
The analogy I use, this is the same thing as the NFL coach who it's 4th and 3 and you're down by 4 points and you're at the 50-yard line and you punt, right? And you punt so that you increase your chance of winning the game, right? Or not losing, right? Or you can say, well, I didn't decide to go for it on 4th and 3 and give them a short field, right? That's kind of always, it's risk reward, but it's also money. It goes back to the money thing, right? And it's like, well, yeah, who takes the fall? Well, of course, the manager takes the fall for leaving him out there. It's not his fault he gets hurt, right? Individual athletes don't get blamed when they get hurt playing the game, right? They always point to the trainer, the manager, whatever. But here's what I think. Until you can actually show me that this is substantially increasing the longevity of players' careers or substantially increasing your odds of winning, until you can show me one of those two things, I think it's a bad decision for the game, right? And you look at runs scored per game, you look at, the prevalence of surgeries and games missed. I have not seen any convincing data that says anything about it's, all this whole idea of limiting people to 100 pitches hasn't miraculously extended people's careers, hasn't made pitchers more dominant, hasn't done any of those things, right? The best case you can make is say, well, we want our relievers to go out there and we just put an arm out there who can throw it 100 miles an hour every pitch for 10 pitches. And we do that every inning. And, as we've talked about, maybe it works. It doesn't make the game more interesting. And they don't do it in the postseason. That's the thing that kills me. You get to the World Series and you get Yamamoto goes out and throws 7 and 8 innings and you leave him out there. It's like, well, so this is the best way to play the game, but you don't do it throughout the season. I don't know. I don't get it.
Could there be an argument? So, you hear batters get a third time at a pitcher and they see how it's come out of his hand the past 2 at-bats and, it increases your chances of hits, right, for your third at-bat.
Right.
Is there an argument for managers to pull after 2 rotations of your batters?
Yeah, I think, yes, statistically, the more you see a pitcher in a game, I think there's two things involved, right? Number one, you get a better feel for him. Number two, they get tired, right? But
True. Right.
But here's the thing. I'm not advocating for keeping your number 4 and number 5 starters out there for 8 innings, right? Your 4th and 5th guy in your rotation, you're not looking for 8 innings out of those guys. But your number 1 guys, your Skeens, right? Your workhorses, the anchors of your first and second starters. These, I mean, who are you if you can't go through a lineup 3 times? I'm sorry, you're not one of the greats. You're not one of the great pitchers ever. You think it mattered to Maddox how many times you saw him? I mean, give me a break, right? Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you can make an argument for that again with farther down the rotation, but I don't think that argument. I mean, you don't pull Jordan, you don't pull LeBron, you don't pull Jokic, you don't pull your top players at the end of the game either because they're tired or because, they know what shot he's going to take. That was the whole point. You knew exactly what Jordan was going to do, and you couldn't stop him, right?
Bird would tell you which shot he was. Bird would say, I'm taking 2 dribbles and I'm pulling up from that spot right there, and you're not going to stop it. Nolan
Ryan and his 7th no-hitter. Do you any guess what pitch he threw in the 9th inning? It was all heat. Every one, Yeah, that's the thing. The greats in sports are great because you know what's coming and you still can't stop it. Right.
Right.
And I just wonder if we're going to have any great pitchers anymore. Like what's going to be the measure of a great pitcher? I don't even know.
But we both know that baseball has changed so drastically. And not just from a pitching standpoint, right? So it's what's fun in baseball from a batter standpoint? Home run, right? Like that's
I guess. But, I mean, I like to see a ball in play, I mean, give me a double to the gap.
Let's look at some of, you've got home run hitters now, but they're batting 280, right?
Which is lucky. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying though. Like,
250 now. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Tony Gwynn wasn't a power hitter, but what did he do?
Yeah. Yeah.
He got on base.
Every time.
Every time he was at bat.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah,
it has changed so much, and I know Tony Gwynn is an oddity and a rarity when it comes to baseball, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Ichiro, right? I mean, are we going to see any more Ichiros? Maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, you're always going to have. There are going to be guys who simply aren't power hitters, but like. Yeah, and I respect that the game has changed. But my question becomes, what does greatness look like nowadays, especially from pitchers, right? And from hitters, anybody who's not hitting home runs, because nobody's hitting 340 anymore, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like it. Maybe we'll get somebody who comes back, right? But you're barely getting anybody at 300 anymore. I mean, 310's winning a batting title nowadays, right? So what does greatness look like? And the hard part is that the great pitchers of the past had tremendous stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And they pitched complete games. You know what I mean? It's not like, the guys today are throwing harder, but you can't tell me these guys are throwing any better. They're not better pitchers than a Maddox or like Jim Palmer or Tom Seaver or Sandy Koufax or Bob Gibson. They're not, they might throw it harder, but they're not any better than those guys were. And those guys are Don Drysdale, or heck, Oral Hershiser, right? Hershiser in that season when he went 59 straight innings, he was flipping unhittable, And
they were able to place it exactly where they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to tennis real fast in regard to placement versus power. Yep. So Federer was not a power hitter like they have now.
Yeah, no, he had power. He could hit it 130, but that was a big serve for him. Yeah.
But he was like, I'm going to hit it there. Like, I'm going to place this ball where I want it versus now it's like, I'm just going to try to hit it past you as fast as I can, as hard as I can. Right. So I think that's similar in baseball. It's not just about placement. Yeah. It is, but at the same time, it's like, if I can get it past you and you're swinging, that's all I need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I just, it's just curious. I mean, the way baseball is and the way it's going to be probably for the foreseeable future, it leads me to ask the question, what's going to be the measure of greatness, right? And I just think having good stuff as a pitcher or being able to throw at 103, I mean, look, I can't do it. I'm not saying it's nothing, but I'm just not, that's not a distinguishing mark of a great pitcher to me, but it might have to be now. I don't know.
Right.
So, all right. Well, we're going a little long on this segment, so we'll call it here. That will be your sports roundup for episode 90 of D4 Sports. Last call for episode 90, the masters of podcasting. I feel silly even saying it. Dustin, the bartender, has called us. What is the last call? What do you got for me here to send us out?
So since we've become a semi-political podcast.
Oh, boy.
And may jump into a little bit of politics and maybe even some sports revenue information. And I mean, we've kind of talked about all of that today. So I think winding it up with this is interesting. So if you want to watch every NFL game this year, do you know how many streaming services you need to watch every game?
If you're asking me, I know exactly how many I need because I live international and I need one. But I'm assuming you're talking about for people who live in the U.S.
Correct.
Well, let's see. You're going to have to have something that'll give you local channels because even if you buy the Sunday ticket, they'll black out your local games, right?
Okay.
You'd have to have the Sunday ticket, which is YouTube now, right? You'd have to have Amazon because Amazon's got a handful of games. You're probably going to have Netflix because Netflix has carried a couple of games. Am I missing any? That's 4. 10? Come on.
10.
Come on. What?
The Department of Justice is looking into this.
Well, I saw the headline. I didn't read the story, but 10?
The Department of Justice is looking into
I can't even
NFL
name 10 streaming services.
because of the streaming services and all of. So you remember when cable was like $30 a month and you could watch what you wanted to watch?
Yeah.
Like,
a long time
realistically,
ago.
at one point,
90.
it was. Yes.
1990.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So even $75.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes. I'm with you. Yeah.
So you've got Peacock, you got NBC, ABC, CBS, your locals.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Netflix, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
NFL Network. Paramount.
I forgot about them. All right.
NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah.
YouTube TV.
Yeah.
ESPN Plus.
Oh, I forget. Yeah, ESPN. They got Monday night, right? Yeah, or something. Well,
now YouTube TV, I think you can get your local stations depending on what.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, some of those might be able to be combined, but fair enough. You got to have access to 10 networks.
Like potentially, there are 10 platforms that you can watch.
Nice.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. See, and that's, again, I mean, I know the games aren't on at an ideal time for me, at least the primetime games, but the fact that I can watch all the replays the next morning and watch them for all I want. And for me, the NFL Game Pass International, which is hosted on DAZN, DAZN, which is somehow pronounced DAZN, which, okay, fair enough. Which actually, frankly, this year was a much better platform than it's been in the last couple of years. I mean, I pay about $200 for the whole year, and I get every game. So, but it's ridiculous that I, living in London, have way easier and way simpler and way more comprehensive coverage of the NFL than anybody in America. But
right,
money, baby,
revenue, baby.
Money talks, baby. There it is. All right. Well, I've got two. One of them is related to football, i.e. soccer here, and this relates to Ipswich. And it has nothing to do with this year. There's this very famous clip that I had not seen until recently from an Ipswich game back in 1978. Okay. So 1978, the Ipswich Town captain goes down injured, right? And they bring out a stretcher, and they're rolling out a stretcher for him. And one of the guys pushing the stretcher has got a lit cigarette in his mouth as he's pushing it. And a lot of people thought this was actually like the trainer. And that's what a lot of people say, but they thought it was actually the team doctor was smoking as he was pushing it out. Turns out it was actually the groundskeeper who just got like roped in to help him push the trolley. But it is classic. Got a cigarette in his mouth. He's out there, he's pushing the stretcher, which is classic. I mean, you talk about how much sports has changed. Good on you, Ipswich Town. I hope you lose out the rest of the season, but that's pretty classic. And then the other one, and I believe this is a first. I do not believe we've ever mentioned chess on our podcast. Have we ever mentioned, do you remember any time we mentioned chess?
I don't know why we would.
Yeah, well, sport, leisure. I mean, we talk about darts. We talk about bowling. Anyway, we got something to say about darts, but anyway, we'll leave that behind. You know who Magnus Carlsen is?
I've heard the name.
So Magnus Carlsen is like the greatest chess player in the world, right?
Right.
There's this clip of Magnus Carlsen at a tournament, just last week or maybe the week before. And he's playing against some young woman. She looks Japanese. I don't know who she was. But at any rate, obviously, you know, sitting down and playing chess against Magnus Carlsen is kind of like teeing off with Tiger Woods, right? And so they sit down together and she's like, "Can I take a picture?" And he's like, "Sure." So she leans back and they take a selfie together. And then she puts her phone away. He stands up, walks away from the tables, and goes to the tournament organizers and reports her for having a cell phone. Because apparently you can't have a phone at the table. And I'm like, dang, Magnus. I mean, you talk about cold-blooded. She pulls out a phone. "Can I get a selfie?" "Oh, sure." He poses for the selfie, and then he immediately gets up and goes and reports her for having a phone at the table, and that's why he's a grand champion.
Find every way to win.
I had no idea that the world of chess was that cold-blooded, but there you go.
There was somebody in the Masters that got disqualified for having his cell phone on the course.
Really? I didn't see that. Yeah.
I didn't read the article, but I read the headline.
Well, and there was the other guy, I think he's British, who got mad and flipped off somebody, and he got fined and stuff. But there's been a lot of good memes on that one, and somebody like had made it like a bobblehead of him flipping people off, which is pretty funny.
Well, there you go.
You know, we talked about it a lot. How much sports has changed, and you go back to the time when you used to have Jack Nicklaus walking around smoking on the course, and you had Lee Trevino and Chichi Rodriguez smoking cigars on the course, and John Daly. Who knows what John Daly did on the course? Most of that was off camera, but I don't know. I'm not saying that's better, but I don't know. There's something about the hyper professionalism and hyper profiteering of sports that we've stolen something from the game in doing that. That's not how we want to end D4, but there it is. That's like the end of the episode.
I mean, I got nothing else. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, you know, you see the smoking, you got the cigars on the course. That's your everyday common man.
Yeah.
That's not your hyper athlete. That's us.
Yeah. That's your Bryson DeChambeau, every man on the course.
That's what you need.
If you're going to be D4, that's what you got to do, I think. So, well, all right. With that, we'll bring it to a close. Good listeners, don't be Magnus Carlsen.
I mean, or you could.
I mean, go ahead and be a grand champion if you want to be. All right. Any last thoughts? All right. Well, with that, we will bring episode 90 to a close on D4 Sports. Until next time, D4 out. D4 Sports is brought to you by Don and Dustin and by our sponsors, Sports and Day Drinking. Special thanks go to Trey Klein for providing the music behind D4 and all our friends and family for supporting us throughout this effort.